All right, welcome back to the second episode of the PTEC podcast, this one being long overdue. Today we're going to be doing social engineering and deceptive methods. Ethan's right here with me, and Rory. Our third member won't be joining us today. We're just going to hop right into the things right now. We're doing social engineering, starting with the actual social engineering itself, right? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be you.
So, so social engineering is just like an umbrella term for the abuse of the user being the most vulnerable part of a network. Generally, it's a general category for various scams and such, like phishing, vishing, whaling, etc. Like the stuff we talked about last episode.
hmm
So, how does a user become affected by this broad category? A user becomes infected when they fall for a trap set up by the scammer. The scammer will usually trick the user into taking their money, downloading a virus, stealing personal information, etc. Yeah, that's
It's just basically like falling for
yeah,
their ruse, if you will.
yeah. They can't really get into the network or system through the back end, so they're just tricking people into getting through it just through the front door.
Yeah, it takes one gullible person, and there you go. You're into the whole network.
Yep. So an example, real life. TED Talk by James Veitch
Well, that guy's good.
about replying to spam emails. It's a pretty good episode.
Recommend you
You
watch that
guys.
one, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really good. Just search up TED Talk, the TED Talk, James Veitch.
Or replying to spam
He's
emails.
yeah, replying to spam emails exactly. Yeah, on YouTube, and it's pretty funny. So the attacker in question tried his hardest to convince Mr. Veitch to send him £1,500, the currency, um, to help raise funds for gold to resell. The whole scam was, hey, Mr. Veach, we're going to send you lots and lots of gold. You get 10% of the earnings, but you have to send us money to help
Cover the
what is it?
costs or whatever.
Yeah, cover the costs for like shipping and things like that. So they wanted like £1,500. Um, Mr. Veach, however, in this episode was smart enough to realize that it was a scam, so he didn't lose anything, and in fact just got a pretty good TED talk out of it.
Didn't you do like two or three TED Talks, actually?
Well, it wasn't just that guy though. He's like it was a different guy each talk,
Oh,
wasn't
no,
it?
but he's done like three TED Talks on spam emails, I thought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like this is just a very common occurrence that happens. If you check your spam section, there'll most likely be at least a few of these,
Yeah.
like in your email.
I think Google, like Gmail, filters out a lot of it.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I don't get them a lot, but they definitely still do get through sometimes. Or if you're using like your own, like if you have your own mail server, you definitely get them.
oh yeah.
But most spam
So
filters kind of block those stuff for now.
yeah. So how does a user or cybersecurity specialist protect their system from this threat, vulnerability, or attack? If it's a message from the bank, go to them in person and verify. If it's someone you don't know asking for funds urgently to help pay for something like medical bills, don't care.
I'm sorry, but
Any
I
real,
don't have an Aunt Margaret in Zimbabwe, kind of thing.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So any real person would go to close relatives or friends for help, not random strangers over the phone or email.
Also, just like I
Um,
feel like checking the actual address of the email, like where it
oh
came
yeah,
from, would be pretty good, right?
yeah. You could even just like search up on Google if search up like the sender, like the email that you
Yeah,
got it
I
from,
I do that sometimes
and
with like phone numbers
yeah,
and stuff.
just like check if if it's like a well known
Yeah,
like a scam email or phone number or anything like that. And just lastly, just second guess anything suspicious or inconsistent. You
yeah,
know,
like
like
just be cautious, kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. Don't be stupid.
All
All right.
right,
Well,
yeah, moving right on to into pretexting here.
all
So
right.
basically, the very short way to describe pretexting is like a very elaborate lie. It's almost like you're creating a whole story. So you're kind of pretending to be the someone else in this story to get sensitive information. So so what basically what it is you're telling a lie involving multiple fake people, multiple fake events, kind of thing. You can mix in real ones too to try to make it more convincing. All in attempts to fool somebody in a way, giving away their information. So basically, how it works, right, is any form of communications. They can get a phone call, email. These usually are targeted towards certain individuals and companies, kind of like spearphishing attacks. They're like bundled together. And so let's say like you have some high-ranking like member in like office, like the CEO, for example. Like they open up their email and they have an email from someone posing as a CEO of a different company, and they're mentioning like names of members of that company, other companies that the CEO might know. as well as adding fake names, basically trying to fool the CEO into thinking, oh yes, I am actually the person like you think I am, and I'm asking for this information from you. Um, so, but again, obviously in reality, there's some like scammer hacker trying to trick them into giving away stuff and doing so basically telling a story at the same time. In once they convince somebody or how they convince somebody, they can make them end up giving away things like personal information,
Money.
yeah, money, personal information, like anything really. You can even get them to do things like
Anything they can get.
install
Yeah.
viruses. Yeah. Yeah, basically, the best way to sort of like stop that, defend against that, is definitely know who you're talking to. Like, actually have multiple forms of communication. So if you do get an email from somebody trying to tell you like, oh yeah, I need your help, financially aid kind of thing, claiming to be your relatives, go and actually like call that person and ask if this is legit or not, right? Yeah, basically just like call the person in question who's contacting you, or contact them some way you can, and make sure that they are in fact trying to ask for your help or something like that, and not some scammer. So yeah, basically just sort of telling stories, and I'm gonna move on to the next one here. We got quid pro quo.
Ooh,
Yeah,
never heard of that one.
it's a pretty fancy one. It's Latin
Ooh.
for exchange of goods, apparently.
Huh.
So it's literally just trading. I give you this if you give me that. Um,
Ooh.
so it's a pretty common, well, one you might see more on sort of like currency based things, right? So if you're being contacted through any form of communication really, and someone's like, hey, if you give me like this amount of money, I'll give you this like artwork or this program for doing something kind of thing. Um,
Huh.
and basically how that works is people can get getting scammed because they never receive what they're paying for, or they do receive what they're paying for, but it's not what they actually think it is. So, like, let's say someone contacts you like, oh, I'll give you my source code for some application kind of thing that I saw you were working on, in exchange for a certain amount of money, and the person gets that source code, and they add it to their code, and then they run their program, and that source code activates, and basically what ends up doing is they can like install a virus on the computer, and then you basically open yourself up to whatever the virus wants to do. Dangerous stuff. Uh, it doesn't actually have to be all like always like software or technology based. It can happen sort of like physically, right? It's a good example. Like, let's say you're
Mhm.
going to buy something on like Kijiji or eBay, right? Or even Amazon, because that happens too. And you go and you buy something, kind of thing. You pick it up, and then when you get home and you start trying it out or whatever, you realize it isn't actually what you saw online, or it doesn't function as intended. So like, let's say you ordered like a, I don't know, a blender off Amazon, right? And then when you actually unbox it, kind of thing, unpackage it, and try to use it, doesn't work. There's no motor, for example, it doesn't spin. So there you go. The person essentially, like, I mean, they just scammed you, but they essentially pulled the quid pro quo attack, and that they got you to exchange your money for their like blender, which was faulty.
So it's basically just like false advertising.
It's pretty much false advertising, yeah.
All right.
Uh, Great way to just not get hit by the attacks is, if you don't trust a person, don't make the exchange. If they don't have anything backing them up, don't make the exchange. Uh,
Yeah.
good example of like doing things like that is I mean, it's very niche. I don't know what the word is. That's bother.
Niche.
Is it niche? Yeah. See, I always get
Yeah.
burned on that. Anyway, it's niche market, or for people, is Team Fortress 2, right? It has a
Ooh.
huge huge booming economy with all kinds of items going upwards of a couple hundred dollars, even sometimes in the thousands. Um,
Yeah.
and like I myself have gotten contacted like, hey, I see you have this item. I will give you this amount of keys, which is like the currency for that item, and they're usually pretty like see-through scams. Like you can pick them
Yeah.
apart. They're pretty like obviously scams. Because like any real person would like contact you like they usually contact you through Steam, but they would be more like, realistic about it, because you can like check like there's different marketplaces you can check sort of prices for items, and if you like looking at the marketplace, right, it's like, oh, okay, my item's worth like 20 keys, and they're offering you 22. That's like a considered a huge jump in price, and that just seems quite outlandish unless the person really wants that item. Anyway, we're getting a bit sidetracked,
Yeah.
but that just
You
don't
know, like
make the exchange.
yeah, another good example though is kind of like on Reddit. There's a r/crackhead Craigslist.
Oh,
Yeah, where people just try to sell like yeah, like perfectly good condition couch, like sat on it once or twice, and there's like wine spills and half of it's missing, and just things like
that
that.
was one hectic like binge watching session then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like just those types of things.
Yeah. All
All
right,
right.
we're
So
on to authority, right? Yeah, that's you.
yeah, authority then intimidation. So the like just another part of social engineering.
These all are.
Um, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, but like social engineering. This is well, social engineering tactics. Uh, colon authority.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just specifically an attack where they use what is it? A
Trying to like pretend
well,
they're the authority, right?
yeah, when they're trying to like well they're pretending or they make you think that that they have like a higher position than you and they can do something bad to you if you don't give it to, if you don't give them what they want. You know,
Okay.
like for example, like I don't know, someone pretends to be your boss.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, at work. It's like, hey, hey, you need to pay for this since you broke this at work.
No.
Like, yeah,
If you didn't
exactly.
break
Yeah,
it, no.
yeah. And like ways to protect against that. You know, just like verify it's your boss and not just a random bot email.
Well, if you don't remember
Um,
breaking the thing in the first
yeah,
place.
yeah. And also, if it's just like a fake scenario
Yeah.
that never happened, like question it. I'm not gonna say like fight the power. I'm not gonna go like full rebel mode, but
But make sure you're not trying to they're trying to scam you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then intimidation, it's kind of the same thing. Just instead of using like a position of authority, they just try to like intimidate you
Yeah.
into like
So
taking your
they're
things.
kind of
You
like
know.
they kind of work in tandem those two.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. But like intimidation, I guess, is just like authority kind of sits in intimidation.
Yeah.
Intimidation is more of a like a broader category for
Yeah.
like you could also encompass things like a fake hostage situation. Like we have your family, give us 5,000, 5 grand, or they're all going to die. Like,
We
type of
we will
thing.
hack them all.
We'll bring down your home network. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, I think
just like
I've seen some of those online. Those pictures is like give me like a picture of like artist is like no, okay, I hack you now kind of thing. Pretty garbage intimidation, but it was there was an attempt.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Basically trying to intimidate them to like make them scared that for their well-being or someone else's well-being into doing what the person wants.
Yeah.
We're
All right, yeah, that's
pretty much
actually
sums
like
it up.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, it pretty much sums up except for like let's see, oh yeah, right, I forgot. There's ways of protecting against it, just like
Don't be
basic things.
intimidated.
Exactly, don't be baby.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's kind of like authority where you just like consult the person that the attacker says they are and verify the authenticity of the email.
yeah,
Verify the email that the attacker used. You know, like search if you feel like the email's even just a little bit suspicious, search it up on Google.
yeah.
Uh, you get a result like saying like top 10 hacker list of all time.
Da da
Then
da.
you know it's serious. But like
Yeah.
yeah. All
Uh,
right.
moving on to consensus here, which is another tactic, right? That kind of goes hand in hand with quid pro quo, which is kind of interesting. Um,
Ooh.
it kind of a way to describe it is it's trying to create general consensus of something, right? So,
Mhm.
fake approval of something to convince someone else. So, for example, if you were shopping online again, like I was saying, right, and let's say we're on Amazon, and you see that this blender again has great reviews, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, blender works well. Like, I'm happy with the product I purchased. Cheap and reliable, stuff like that." Um, those probably could be like fake reviews. I mean, they could be real reviews, right? But
Yeah.
based on what we got, which was the broken blender that didn't actually work, we know that those were probably fake reviews, and they're trying to create general consensus to convince the user to buy that because, oh wow, that seems like a great deal. Everyone seems to like it, right? Tries to make the product seem more credible than it actually is, and
All right.
it acts as a scam,
Yeah.
right? So just if you're gonna be doing something like it doesn't even have to be buying something, but just in general, if people are trying to make whatever you're looking at out to be better than you think it is, like just use your better judgment, and just like
Mhm.
okay, if this doesn't seem legitimate, let's do some research, right? Look it up online without like on a store or wherever you're like just Google the name, right? And if
Yeah.
you see like page after page saying, "Oh yeah, this isn't actually as okay," or people even like message boards just questioning it, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like, or a good example is like if you're looking at some sort of program, you don't know if it's legit or not, kind of thing, and you get people messaging like, "Okay, well this seems legit." If most people do say it's legit, but they seem like real people, not like fake bots, it's okay, but it is very sort of like muddy water sometimes in terms of trying to distinguish the two. But basically, the best way to defend yourself against it is just do your own research, kind of thing. Make sure what you're looking at is actually what you're going to be getting. You're not being convinced by outside sources. That's all there is to it.
All right. So like just kind of like follow the old rule. If something seems too good to be true, it probably
Yeah.
is. All right.
Okay, moving right on to urgency. All right. Again,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows hopefully knows the definition of urgency, but sometimes best way to describe it, right, is it can be used in sort of different types of like phishing scams or all their many alternative ones, phishing, spear phishing, whaling, stuff like that. But it can occur like over the phone, basically any form of communication, right? As we've been saying, because that's how those ones work. Social engineering to talk to somebody about it. It's trying to put the victim in like a tough situation, right? The attacker's going to try to get the information out of them or something out of them, and they need it as soon as possible. And they're going to attempt to make the victim panic and stressed, so willingly hand over the information. So this one kind of works well with the intimidation you're talking about before, right? Trying to convince them, oh, you have a deadline to get this or else, right? Um, so
All right. So it kind of works like hand in hand with intimidation and authority then.
yeah, basically.
All right.
And how good way to describe it, or I actually hope that's probably a good way to describe it. But what it does, right? People can lose all kinds of information, banks, passwords, like bank accounts, passwords, emails, credit cards, anything you can think of, right? Um, a good way, like a good, I don't know, example. I think we talked about this many times now. Was the WannaCry one? We talked about that last episode too, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it used a bit of intimidation and urgency as well as just like it being a really nasty ransomware. So, right, it adds the intimidation like, oh, if you don't pay us this money, we're gonna delete all your files. But it also gives them a deadline of like I think it was a week or so to pay him off.
Oh.
But without using this example again, I got a second one prepared because I feel like we're kind of overusing WannaCry.
Yeah.
Um, one would be like, let's say the victim receives a call that their relative is in hospital and the relative can't pay for the bills, and they need help paying for the bills, or else they won't be able to get the operation they need to like save their life or whatever. It's like, okay, well we gotta do this because we don't want the person to die. We gotta hurry because they only got so much time. Um, and basically they're just trying to get the person to give away personal information. I mean, best way to make sure it doesn't happen is if it is concerning a relative who could be, in danger, either try contacting them first. If you can't get a hold of them, then contact someone that they know, kind of thing. So let's say, like, I don't know, your aunt. Your aunt's in the hospital, right? She needs some surgery to save her. So then you contact your aunt first. If you can't get a hold of her, contact your uncle. If you can't get a hold of your aunt and she says no, well then you know that the person who is either on the phone with you or sent you an email is very much not the person who they say they are. That's
That makes
basically
sense.
all there is to it. But
Yeah.
a lot, I'd say with like basically all of the social engineering things is if the person
It's basically the same thing. It's all the same thing. Same.
just make sure you know who you're talking to is who you're actually like who you think it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, onto shoulder surfing
That's
and
also me.
deception methods.
Yeah. This one is almost how it sounds, but you're not like riding the waves of someone's shoulder because that just doesn't seem quite right. You know, like a little tech deck kind of thing.
This one's not so gnarly.
Yeah, it's this one is a lot more common in the workplace between coworkers, but it can also happen like outside of the workplace, like on a bus or in a cafe. All it is like the attacker is just peeking over the shoulder of somebody else, shoulder surfing, um, kind of seeing what the person's looking at, or like seeing the screen by just peeking over their shoulder. I guess surfing, like if they're surfing the web kind of thing. Anyway, try to basically
Yeah.
trying to watch them. It's like, see, oh, they entered the password. Let's just write that password down, kind of thing. Or, oh, they're doing online banking. Wow, let's just put in the credit card information. Write those
Yeah.
down. And we're just gonna peer over your shoulder. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just like stretching. No big deal. It's basically the best way to like describe how someone will get affected by this, like I just said, is if you're not aware of what you're doing, right? If you're doing banking on the bus, or you're in Starbucks on your laptop, like facing the way in, and you're just scrolling through your bank information. It's no big deal, right? Hackers can steal all that kind of stuff because it's right there in front of them. You're literally just giving it to them, basically. Um,
All right.
we had a friend against this. Don't do that. you know,
Yeah, don't do banking.
don't
Don't do
put your
online
bank
banking in Starbucks.
don't put a bank account information out in public. Don't
Yeah.
don't do it in Starbucks. Don't do it on the bus. Don't do it at your job. Don't enter
Well,
any
it,
form of
it
passwords.
depends on what your job is. Like,
I mean, if you're like a banker, I guess you could put bank information again, but then you usually have like an
yeah,
office and people wouldn't be looking over your shoulder. If they
yeah,
worry, you
yeah,
have a different problem because someone's behind the desk.
why they behind the desk just standing there?
Yeah, is like gonna help you? Oh, I'm just here to make a deposit. Like you're on the next to the desk. Oh, am I? I'm just right. What are you doing there? I'm just writing in my journal. But yeah, that's in essence all it really is. It's super super basic. Uh,
All right.
Today was actually a
Well,
really short episode. I think we're at the end, aren't we?
no, I have two more.
Oh, we're almost at the end. Yeah.
Come on.
I'm cutting you I'm gonna cut you off here. I'm sorry. Okay.
Damn. Okay. All right. So another two more deception methods: impersonation and hoax. Impersonation first. It's when an attacker pretends to be someone they're not.
Yeah.
Basically, the same thing as urgency.
Yeah.
Well, not
Or
not well,
pretexting.
kind of. Yeah, yeah. Same like goes hand in hand with urgency
A
and
lot of
like
these are basically the
pretexting,
same thing.
basically.
That's why we group them together, anyways.
Yeah. So how does users become affected by the threat, vulnerability, or attack through any social engineering attack? Basically, like most people don't will just like say who like won't just say who they are because that makes them liable to be caught by police later. So
Mm.
they're gonna obviously make up a like a persona for themselves. Like I don't know.
I'm rich billionaire.
Back in like 2015, was like a King Tut from from Africa saying I need you to wire him $5,000 because I don't know, because his like aunt is dying and she was the queen of Nigeria or something like that.
I mean, it doesn't quite make sense. But King Tut was in Africa, but like a long time ago in Egypt. But whatever.
It's fine. It's just like
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Exactly. Yeah, but yeah, just
Use
example, I
brain. Don't
guess.
be fooled.
Yeah, example. You get an email from your quote unquote aunt saying she needs $500 for a medical bill to save your cousin. Uh, if something like that were to happen, just, like, go on your mom's phone or wherever you have a contact for your aunt, and just like call them. Be like, hey, is this true? Just like read off the email. If it's not true, well then, boom, you have a hacker.
We're really
Or-
throwing aunts under the bus here this episode.
yeah.
It's like I think every single example we use like an aunt is like the person in question who's contacting you, or
Well,
they're involved.
It's the perfect role. Like they're not too close to to like your family, but they're not too far away.
I guess it really depends, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So if that happens, just verify them. If it's not it, then well,
Even if,
boom, you have a script kiddie on your hands.
You got another problem though. Like if they know your aunt's name, you gotta figure out how they know that. But if they don't know your aunt's name,
Pretexting.
yeah, but if it's not your aunt, and like they say your aunt, but you don't have an aunt, like whatever last name here, right? Well, then you're clearly fake, and then you do what James
Yeah.
Beach does and respond anyways. But
Yeah. So, okay. Hoax next. For a hoax, it's just a fake pop-up message or ad saying you have a virus or anything like that, just like tricking you into
yeah,
clicking a link on like or something like that, or clicking on the ad. Uh, does it harm you in any way? Or how does it affect you once you click on the pop-up? You can get a virus downloader on your device, something like that. How does it harm the user of the user's device? Well, it just steals your stuff. You know, bank information gone.
bada bing, bada boom, yoink.
Mother's maiden name gone.
Name of first
Yeah,
pet gone.
yeah. So, example. When I down, this is a personal example, really close to heart for me.
Ah,
When
okay.
I, yeah, whenever I download something off of Bitfly or anything like that, I
Ooh,
sometimes get a pop up saying, "Your device has a virus. Click here to fix it." And it's
no.
yeah, it's like an 8-bit image, and like you can barely read
The
it.
stuff you gotta go through to get Minecraft texture packs.
Yeah, exactly. So if I were to click that, I could have my phone or computer get a virus, which could render my device inoperable or steal sensitive data, which could also render my entire network that I'm on compromised. For example, it could like since this is a home network and both my devices, all my devices recognize this as like a secure network,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure like everyone else in my house has set it to be that. I could easily just well, the virus, not me, the virus
Just
could get
walks right
information
in.
off of yeah, exactly, just kind of
Just gonna take that.
strides right in,
Just
got
gonna
the
take
schlap right.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Put their
They
arm
can
on the shelf and just walk by, pulling everything into the cart in the in the grocery store. Just zoop.
yeah,
It's all
and they can
mine.
just like get information off of pretty much any device that allows it off of the network, which just kind of sucks. So protect against this. Just don't
Yeah.
click those ads. They're not true. How would like just like be logical? I know that common sense isn't that common. Saying we've been taught by our wise teacher. Um,
Oh,
like common
big
sense isn't
brain
that common, but
one.
just take like if something like this happens, take a minute to think. How is like how is this website, random website that you don't know? How is it going to check your device for a virus?
How's it know?
Exactly. Like it's just unlikely
At best.
that could ever happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
so just like if something bad happens, something if you think something bad's gonna happen, just like think it over in your head, given the old give it the old run through.
Give the old ponder.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Just, you know,
just gonna
be safe.
cover one last thing is a few actual like personal examples. I personally removed them, but
Uh-huh.
of like pretexting, impersonation, and some of the other ones was that we got these messages on our channel, like comments saying from the Zimmer tracks, which I'll talk about in a sec, saying, "Wow,
Uh-huh.
great content. I'd like to be friends," kind of thing. Keep it up, and then they're trying to like sub for sub in their name. Everyone's seen that on YouTube now. That's basically what's going on, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the next episode. Is it's kind of like a botnet, but not quite. But what's going on is a bunch of bots going around all with the same name, like Zimmer tracks, with some sort of like following thing, because this like trying to get people to follow them for whatever reason. I don't know, some sort of like bot thing. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I think it somehow steals channels. I don't entirely remember. But what happens is like they message you or they comment on your videos and they're like, "Hey, I like your stuff," kind of thing, trying to pretend they're not someone they're not, trying to be nice to you, trying to get them to
Mhm.
interact with them. Um, I'm not doing very good justice of what this whole Zimmer Tracks thing is. Zimmer Tracks itself is actually a real channel. Like they do try to like be they're not like a fake dude, but someone's taken over their stuff. I don't explain it very well. Some ordinary gamers that YouTube channel, he explains it really well. He goes very in depth into like the whole sort of conspiracy that the Zimmer Tracks dude has like this weird sort of botnet army behind him.
Link in the description.
Yeah, maybe. I'll probably throw it in the description because why not? But yeah, it just another good example of sort of impersonations, hoaxes, pretexting, a lot of the things we covered today. But I think this is going to wrap up our sort of shorter episode today. We're missing a few details. But I hope it covers as much as we can. Thank you for listening. I've been Rory, he's been Ethan, and we are out.